All of us have been practicing the art of manipulation for years, even before we knew there was a big fancy word for it. When we were babies, we would manipulate the way that we were being fed and also the idea that we were put to sleep. Maybe we preferred to be held rather than rest in the crib. When we were toddlers, we would cry and fuss for the toys that we wanted. Sometimes our parents would relent, and sometimes they wouldn't. As professionals, we may have to try to get anyone to listen to us, from our manager to coworkers and more. There is no escaping from the practice of manipulation each day, whether we realize we are using it or not. But what is manipulation? Manipulation is the art of getting others to do exactly what you want them to do. In many cases, you do this by not necessarily paying attention to their desires. There are some extreme cases where you may cause them to harm in the process. It is going to comprise of a few techniques to get this done, including coaxing, trickery, persuasion, hypnotism, charisma, charm, and misinformation, to name a few of them. The main objective that is seen with manipulation is that you need to trick or convince people to lead them in the direction that gives you exactly what you need or desire. However, not all the forms of manipulation out there are going to be wrong. You could positively use the techniques to help turn the game around and to help you get what is yours or what you need. For example, if you have a boss who is stingy and won't give you a promotion or the pay raise that you need, then using logic or persuasion isn't going to work well with them. You may have to resort to manipulation to get what is yours. The ideas behind manipulation are going to come from the belief that the needs and desires that you have are going to be higher than everyone else's. You will need to put yourself at the center of the world and believe that the world would revolve around your desires. It can sometimes be given a twist that is more positive when you realize that connect with other people, and then you both work with aligning their desires towards your own. In these situations, you will end up positively manipulating people into doing what is best for you and them, and they are less likely to feel fooled. Let's take a look at an example of this. If you think that no one would be able to make a date or partner happier than you, then you need to try and align your desires to theirs. You know that you can keep them happy and can do this even when you become married. If you are the right person for them, then the manipulation techniques that you use here will be in the best interest of both of you. Unlike persuasion, manipulation is going to occur at a more profound and even subconscious level. It is going to be done by the manipulator attempting to change the fundamental beliefs and also the experiences of people to get them to do what we want. It can be done with a variety of methods, from verbal skills, seduction, and even hypnotism. It is sometimes done with the help of distorting someone's idea of reality so that they start to think and do what we want. When it is successful, people are going to start behaving and thinking about facts in the way that the manipulator wants them to. Whether you realize it or not, you are being manipulated regularly in your daily life. The tool of manipulation is something that every business or marketer understands when they try to get you to purchase their stuff or live your life in a specific manner that helps build up their profits. They may say that you should purchase this brand to make you a cool athlete, or vote for this person if you want to see change. We just have to open our eyes to see it better. Manipulation is going to involve any emotional exploitation and distortion of one's mental processes to make sure that the manipulator can get something that they want. Depending on the situation, especially when the situation is an abusive one, it can be more obvious that there is some form of harm being done. But often manipulation is a bit trickier for the victim and for others to identify. It isn't uncommon for the victim to go for months without realizing that someone is using them or manipulating them. Of course, manipulation is way more common than we may think. It is likely that everyone has worked to manipulate someone else at some point in their life. It is just a part of the average conversations and interactions that occur. For example, you may convince someone to go to the store with you because you don't want to go alone or you need help loading up the groceries. This may be seen as pretty harmless, but it is still a form of manipulation because you asked someone for help with something, trying to persuade them, with an ulterior motive present. Manipulation is something that can happen way back in our childhoods. That is the main reason and way that most of us learn how to get the things that we want. Children will use this as a way to try and get adults and others to do what they want. This is seen as something reasonable, and it is part of childhood development, as the children try to learn how to navigate their way around the world. Of course, over time, this is supposed to stop. With some guidance from their parents, the child is going to learn that they aren't allowed to hurt other people to get what they want, and so they will start developing empathy and will stop using manipulation as a way to get what they want. If this manipulation isn't monitored properly, it can turn into a form of abuse. There are those who will never stop with the childhood manipulation and who will then grow into adulthood with the intent of manipulating those around them. It is possible that some manipulators aren't going to realize what they are doing, but in most cases, the manipulator is going to rely on this tactic because they know that it will get them what they want, and they aren't too worried about how much it is going to affect others. That is why manipulation can be such a complicated thing to work with, and why we will spend this section looking at it more. There are a lot of different types of manipulation that can start to show up, and understanding more about how this works and how to keep yourself safe from a manipulator can go a long way in how healthy you are and how much freedom you get to keep on your own life. Where can I find manipulation? In reality, you can find manipulation in almost any place you choose to look for it. Manipulation is going to occur mostly within the closest relationships of another person. It can show up in relationships between some close friends, siblings, parents, and children, and spouses. The people who are closest to us, the ones who surround us, are often the ones who we are going to look to when we are in need. We see our friends and family as someone who provides us with something, whether it is love, help, companionship, to something else, at least a bit. When some feel as though they might need something that they can't get easily on their own, then they are going to work to manipulate the situation. This is something that we often see when we look towards the workplace. Bosses may try to manipulate some of their employees to ensure that a specific goal is reached. Sometimes coworkers are going to try and shape one another to see who can get ahead and get that promotion, often competing for positions that could have the potential to change the overall fate of their lives. You will also be able to see this manipulation in the society that is around us. For example, advertisers are going to use our desires and our fears to make us purchase certain things. Political campaigners will use manipulation to see if they can gain any new voters. Lobbyists will work to get a particular bill passed or not. Teachers will try to use different tactics to get students to hand in assignments on time, and so much more. Manipulation is a tool that, when used correctly, can be powerful. But once the victim starts to become more aware of all the manipulation that is going on around them, both in their professional and in their personal lives, they are going to find that it is easier to see it in social settings, even with those that they have always trusted and been close to before.